associates, and welcome back to another episode of the Cubicle Podcast. I'm Charlie Armstrong, and today I have a lovely guest with me, Jerry. And to say a little bit about our guest today, today's guest is someone who blends creativity, leadership, and thoughtful storytelling in a truly unique way. Jerry Chap is a photographer, critical thinker, and creative professional whose journey spans photography, healthcare, sales, and public administration. A graduate of William Patterson University of New Jersey with a background in photography and later earning an MPA from Delaware State University, Jerry has built a career rooted in both artistic expression and leadership. Through his platform, Photos for Breakfast, which I love the name, by the way, he shares visual storytelling and perspectives that encourages people to slow down, reflect, and see the world differently. He also values mentorship, impact, and community. And today we're going to talk all about creativity, personal growth, critical thinking, and the experiences that have shaped his journey. I just want to say, Jerry, thank you so much for being here. It is such a pleasure to have you on the pod. Such an honor. We've talked about this for a while now, so it's finally, it feels real to finally
happening.
I know it's finally happening, which
happening.
I'm so grateful and thankful for to have you on. So I just want to say again, thank you for taking the time to be on here this morning. I know it's been a crazy time lately. And just getting right into it, I would love to ask you what originally sparked your interest in photography and visual storytelling? What's the origin story? How did this all start?
Believe it or not, everyone looks at me crazy when I tell them this story because I've been shooting since I was 6. Wow. And that's literally my mom gave me a camera. It was a film camera at 6 years old because I had to be the one to take pictures at family parties. So my mother and my grandmother were the ones that, always were consistent with me taking photos. And I've been shooting literally ever since. And I decided to pursue photography in college after I was working hard to fail. I started college going for computer science, and I was studying so hard and still failing my exam. So instead of me dropping out school, I was like, let me do something I love. And I decided to go for photography and never turned my back since.
Wow, I love that. That's so cool. I think that's very important to highlight is to how to study something that you're really passionate about and that you could still make a living through that. And we're going to get to learn more about that, I think, through your episode especially with your other jobs and other passions that you've had, but really focusing in on photography and how that has been working for you, which I think is so important to share, which is so interesting. So you've worked across all these different industries. It was automotive, healthcare, sales, and photography. How do these experiences kind of shape who you are and kind of help you really know that you wanted to get onto a path of being in photography?
It really is the foundation of being a storyteller. Like, I've always loved to help people. I've always been like the jack of all trades, a super workaholic. In college, I don't think I had less than 3 jobs at once. So I had to figure out a way to develop my story, what way I can do to really know people. And everything that I've done is, for the most part, customer facing, community facing. And that was my best on getting my personality out there and really get to know the background of people. One of my favorite jobs was working at Memorial Sloan. I worked at a breast cancer facility. Yeah. And I met the most amazing people. Humble, not humble. And it really made me more passionate of what I was doing because photography also, to me, changes people's lives. And it gives you the opportunity to not only see what my story is, but develop your own story when you're looking at my work. So it helped me jumble on how to speak to a particular person at a particular time, especially when it comes to like coordinating a photo shoot or doing a consultation. But you want to get to know that person and it helps. It's like an ongoing interview. So I think because I've worked in so many places, it made my work so much better.
Yeah, no, I bet, seriously. And I think just the versatility of like where you work. So tell us a little bit more about like your photography. So what specific photography do you highlight and do you take pictures of that are like maybe like a strength to you or just something that you do mostly with your photography?
I'm currently pursuing live events. I've done a lot of live events lately, but it's crazy how I still have a passion within my passion. So I currently have a passion on shooting cars and children. I'm still a big kid, and I have a thing where I can capture, I should say, difficult kids, where for some families, they have a hard time getting pictures of their children. but they can't sit still. And because I'm a big kid, I have fun. I let them be in their element. And that makes me capture all the candid moments because at the end of the day, my style is candid. I'm the worst at posing people. Because, when you pose somebody, if you tell someone say cheese, they're not going to give you a genuine smile.
Yeah.
So like I did a Sweet 16 last night. And before the Sweet 16, I had like a little mini session. And this was her first professional photography session. And I've always been a class clown. And she thinks she was a photogenic. She didn't know how to pose. And I told her, have you ever been in a professional photo shoot before? She goes, no. I was like, well, this is not professional. And she was like, huh? And started laughing. And as soon as I got that laugh, I started shooting. And she's like, wait, I'm not ready. I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, look at this. You telling me you're not photogenic. And that gave me that moment of connection. Ever since that, it was like second nature to her. And even throughout the event, I was like, look, I'm not here. I'm a ninja. You're not going to see me. And then you're going to look at these photos and say, when did I take? And that's always been my style.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool. I think that's great that like it's not always about like posing for the picture and like looking professional for that picture, but it's like the fact they're able to connect with the youth in that way, but then also highlight how you can kind of just be in your element and just be genuine.
Yeah.
Genuine is beautiful, not
Oh
being
my God. Yes.
and I think
Yes.
that's so real. And do you keep that same basis for like every photo shoot that you have with like the kids and whatnot? And how do you like sneak around in the place and get like, I need to know like your secrets for this.
So it's funny because I'm a very good code switcher, but I still remain myself. It is so important to be genuine because when you get to the different levels of industry, it's easy for you to lose yourself. So like how I am with kids, I can be the same way with people from Fortune 500 companies, and they find it very interesting because I have like this certain style where I've noticed that people are very ingenuine when they get into certain rooms. And because I am sincere, makes me stand out. And I've been invited to private events and I am an analyzer. And that's one thing with photography. Like I analyze so much. Like I deal with OCD and anxiety. So like I walk into a room and you might think that I'm very outspoken. I'm not. Like I'm a very, very shy person. I analyze rooms before I even really walk in. And then I start to notice the who's who's. So there's some events where everyone wants to go to the CEO. Everyone wants to go to these directors, these board of trustee members. I don't even go that way. I'm looking for the little. I call them the little people because those are my hidden gems. There's one thing about me is you're gonna know that I'm always gonna talk about hidden gems because they're like those diamonds in the rough. I look for the people that has a cubicle in accounting because people might think that they're nobodies, they're just regular people. But they might be the most important person in the room because without that person that runs accounting, the CEO can't do anything. That person approves those checks. The CEO is not really the person that approves those checks. Like they might sign it, but like it's somebody that controls that. So I go for that. I go for those relationships because at the end of the day, those people have access. Because that's the most important, especially with live events. I need access. Whenever I get invited to certain events, it doesn't just come like that. You gotta really build relationships. And because of those small people, I'm here talking about regular life things. And it doesn't even have to be about work. I just try to find their interests. And then boom. Now I'm getting invited to those things where like you wouldn't even expect me to be at. So
And there you are.
it's important. It's important to just be yourself because you'd be surprised where a lot of people aren't that anymore. They lost themselves and they make them the same as others. So yeah, it's like you don't really get anywhere when you just faking it till you make it. That's a thing in the past.
You got to be genuine. That's always, I think, the key. Being yourself, being unapologetically yourself is extremely important in any field, any profession that you're in. And I think it's amazing how you highlighted before how you love to capture those that maybe don't have the most extravagant, title for themselves, but they're
Yeah.
still but under the surface and what they do, they're actually extremely crucial and important for their field. So,
Yeah.
how do you really capture them in a way? Do you interview them? Do you take photos with them? Like, how do you want to represent these people in that way to be that voice for them?
I feel like life itself is an interview. I get made fun of because they said I can talk to a wall. And you know what? That might be true because you never know who you're going to run into. I think that the way that I capture these people, or even me, because not every interaction can end in a photo shoot. I just like to just know people because, again, I feel like we all are creators. We all are subjects of art, and there's a story within us, each and every one. And there's people that out there that feel like they're not good enough or they're not worthy enough to be a story. But sometimes you can get that certain story that you don't realize you have. And that's what is the beauty of it all. Like, for example, there's this lady I met. She was in finance and for a huge automotive company. And I am at this event and I'm just talking about my daughter. Had nothing to do with photography. I just got her energy and we're laughing and we're talking about the lack of sleep. And I told them, I was like, yeah, I don't remember the last time I experienced sleep. And they're like, why? You look well rested. And like, trust, I'm not. Like, I have a one-year-old daughter. And when they said that, they were like, how do I juggle it? Like, honestly, I don't think I do. So, because of that specific conversation, it opened up a whole new world. And I started to know more about her. And again, we never talked about the photography, never even talked about her job. Yes, I found out that what does she do? Because I also want to know about her. So, but she starts telling me how she's a grandmother of multiple grandkids, and she tells me her experiences. And I was able to relate to her in a way. And because of that, he wants me to just show up to the office with my daughter. And I'm a person of my word. So when I get those invitations, I follow up.
I love that.
I follow up. And even that catches them off guard. Like, this guy really was a man of his word.
We love that. I think it's so important to be a person of your word and to stay true to who you are and stay true to who you are and how you are as a person with how you communicate with people. And I think that's amazing how you were just connecting with her on that level. And are you guys still like in touch? You guys still have that connection? Oh my God.
That's one thing about me is I try to make sure I at least talk to somebody maybe at least once a year. But those conversations will feel like we talked yesterday. So it's like it's still genuine, even if we haven't spoken in a while. It's still genuine, and deep down inside, it's a little calculated. To them, I make them feel like it's that, but to me, it's just a regular day. Like I just thought about. I think birthdays are important to me. So whenever I find out someone's birthday, I say them.
That's great.
So if there's one day that I'll talk to somebody, it's their birthday, and it shows appreciation for them, like their work. And I make sure if it's that I can remember. Boom, that's how we start our conversations. And that's where we left off. Even though it could be the last birthday, be the last talk, it's still a continuation. And it's remembered and it's appreciated.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's really important to do that. I think just to document things down, like important things about people, especially as ways to like follow up and to spark that, like, kind of like that rebound of that connection again after maybe like touching base for a while. Because obviously we're all busy and we all have our own lives and it's hard to keep track of everybody and everything. But it's good that like you remember and you document certain things about people. And birthdays is a great thing to do because everyone loves to receive like a happy birthday, acknowledgement in that regard. Like, that's amazing that you do that. And I would love to talk more about, so we talked earlier about photos for breakfast a little bit. We talked a little bit about that. Why don't you kind of brush up on what that is, what you've been highlighting through your photography in that way, like kind of your portfolio in a sense, and tell us a bit about photos for breakfast. I love the name.
It's so funny because sometimes when people look at it, they might think I'm a photographer. And I'm not. I think how it started was, of course, my favorite meal of the day is breakfast. But to me, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It starts your day and it starts the momentum. It's the foundation. And sometimes people get their only energy of most of the day is through breakfast time. Like, get caught up with work where you don't have time to have lunch. And sometimes you're so tired that you can only eat a snack when you get home and then fall asleep. So you had breakfast, you had that foundation for the energy to last throughout the day. And I started off as just hosting just in the morning, where I tried to see if I can have a foundation of inspiration for people to start their day, especially on Mondays. People hate Mondays. So if I start you right with an inspiring photo on this Monday morning, it might be the best thing you had that week. So it was my way of inspiration and foundation. And it started to level up and build up from there, where I started to have a very liking for coffee shops. So sometimes my edits are done in a coffee shop. I'm sitting in a corner having some tea and editing. And because of that idea, it was a conversation starter. So people started to be more engaged with me once they saw the name. And because of those interactions, I mean more and more people. And it just started to escalate where I'm posting a post all throughout the day. It didn't have to be just breakfast, because sometimes someone's breakfast could be technically lunch. So because I'm able to expand and people carry my work around, start from social media, that can be their light bulb throughout the day. And it started to inspire me more, and it's very engaging. So it didn't seem very unprofessional. It didn't seem like it was only for kids. It didn't even feel like it was just for one kid. It felt like I was for everyone, which makes it so much better and different. I like to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really cool. I love the name and I love how the meaning behind the name. And people do mix up that everyone thinks that like you're a food photographer, I'm assuming, after hearing the name. But it's great to hear that like you're highlighting how the importance of photography in your life through this idea of, of like the name and everything. And even though maybe a bit of false advertising, it's still an iconic name.
Hey, it works.
It works.
It works.
No, for sure.
But you might catch me with a snack though, so maybe it's not false.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think you would ever be open to doing food photography? And if so, like what's the ability to be able to switch?
I actually was thinking about it because I've noticed a lot of different loopholes where it deserves my style. And believe it or not, I feel like my style not only is candid, but it's very lifestyle. So I'd be able to have a lifestyle approach to food. And especially like kids, like I'm a chicken tender connoisseur. I love me some chicken tender. And I can actually kids, even at parties, at events, eating chicken tenders, especially something that I love. And I'll be able to put a spin to it and still be able to tell a story. So I don't think it'll be I can still pull it off.
I think you honestly could too.
So
I feel
it's like anything. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think that it definitely, I've actually talked to someone on the podcast that has done food photography. So I'm very curious to see like what every different type of photographer has done like with their photography. Because like he's done it and he does it now very consistently and he loves it because he used to shoot editorial shoots and do all these like different types of things, people, and he's still very open to it, but he's really switched to now food photography. And it's very interesting to see different directions that people can go into. So I find that very cool to see that like, maybe down the line, like, maybe
I gotta see his work.
Yeah,
I
no,
wonder if
for
he
sure.
likes chicken tenders. I wonder if he loves chicken tenders.
Oh, Doug does. Doug does. I'll send you his contact information
Yeah.
and you can get in touch with him. He is like the nicest guy ever. He is so sweet. He actually comes to my house and he has like a studio like in the back. Like we have this like shed.
Really?
Yeah, and he like does it there. Like he does he has like a little like studio over there. I want to go visit it because I'm actually very curious to see like what his studio looks like. But
Yeah.
because I haven't seen it since, being back home because this is just a very spontaneous.
I'm gonna visit Doug with some chicken tenders into his studio.
Yeah, no, for sure. Please give him some. I'm sure he would love it. So exciting. Have you collaborated with other photographers? And if so, like what projects have you collaborated with like maybe like other photographers on? And how is it with like maybe like I know it's so individualistic, but how is it with like working with other people and managing different dynamics and different relationships with other photographers?
I honestly, I don't feel like photography really needs to be individualistic because I love collaborating. Like, I love knowing how people work. Like, especially if I get a very good vibe from another creator, sometimes it boosts my photos. Like, just someone's energy in the room helps me. And I'm with a creative agency, and I should just say, I'm learning how to not do everything myself. As much as I love collaborating with people, I still try to do everything by myself. And I'm actually learning how to not do like I'm learning that everyone can have their part, even though everyone's part is very important. I don't have to worry about that. Like I can go to a shoot, do a production shoot, and someone is gaffing. Someone's taking care of light. I don't have to worry about the light. It's just someone to adjust, and it takes a lot of the stress off. And it gives me more time to be creative. So that's what helped because, say, for example, like Doug, like he might know something about food that I don't even know, and that changes my perspective on how I shoot. And just by something so small can make a huge difference in my work or even his. And I think that is so important because it's like the more you know about whatever you're shooting, the better you're going to shoot it. Because sometimes if you don't know about, say, like flowers, certain flowers, they grow a certain way. If you don't know that, you might shoot it in a way where it's not even appealing, but they grow this particular way towards the sun. You catch it in that direction, you will know it's like the most beautiful thing. So I think that's why it's important to collaborate, to know how they execute. It's the execution that matters. Some people don't even care how do you get there. It's as long as you get there.
Yeah, whatever it takes. That's how
Whatever
you
it
look at
takes.
it. That's really true. That's a good way of it's the execution and the steps that you take to get to anywhere. And with collaborating with different photographers, it's very easy to figure out like those aspects, maybe with working with other people and gaining those other perspectives. I am curious if you could create kind of like a dream shoot for yourself. So maybe like what other photographers you want to collaborate with, or like what would you want to take pictures of? What, or like maybe like the scenery, like I'm curious, like, is there like a dream shoot that you would love to shoot for, whether it's like going to be happening soon that you would love to be a part of, or you could just create your own? How would you portray it? This is a deep
That's
question.
that is good because I've had so many different dreams of certain shows. For example, like there is this one particular person I've always wanted to shoot, and it is Angie Martinez, who's like a huge radio personality, and I've been following her since I started photography, and I feel like her drive inspired how I do my work, and which made me love the fact that I'm a girl dad now because all I do is I want to shoot my daughter. She's very like all about being in front of the camera, and I hate being in front of the camera. I love being behind it, and she loves being in front. So it makes it easier for me to capture her. And because I'm inspired by seeing her look great, I can, show that inspiration to my daughter and transfer that kind of energy to her. So when she grows up, anything can be done and you'll have a memory. So I hope that I can, capture her one day just to show that I wanted to do this. I wanted to get to this moment. You can do this too. If you want something, you do whatever it takes and you'll get there. So that is one of the dreams that I have that I actually haven't accomplished. So usually when I say something out loud, I accomplish it. So now that we've talked about it, we're gonna have another conversation when it actually happens.
For sure. And we have to keep in touch and keep updated about that
Oh
because no, I think that's so
yeah.
sweet. I think that's great. And I get it. Like when you become, I mean, obviously I don't get it in the way that is obviously regarding your status is now, obviously with being a dad. And I love your hat, dad duty, but I
You
love
see? Always
yes,
worth
on
it.
dad duty. I love it. It's so cute. But I love that you want to shoot your daughter. You want to highlight, how she is and what she means to you, and the ease of taking photos and capturing her beauty in all aspects in regards to how you're taking the photos. Like I love the fact that you were mentioning that and that you were saying that. I think that's fantastic. I think
So
that's
important,
it is. It's your kid. You gotta show off your kid, of
Oh
course.
my God, I love my daughter. As much as I'm experiencing those terrible two moments, like at the end of the day, like I'm a huge girl dad. I'm a huge advocate for girl dads, like parents in general. As much as my hands get full, I will always find time to spend time with my daughter. Even if I have to take her to a shoot with me, everybody knows, like you may or may not have my daughter.
Which is fine. Hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. You can multitask, and that's a
Oh
perfect example of how
yeah,
you be able to do that for
she's a
sure.
great helper.
Exactly. So let's talk about we'll backtrack for a second to some of your other professions because I know you've worked in healthcare and sales. Why don't you talk a little bit about your work background like in the past and maybe how it's kind of shaped your skills that you've acquired today through and maybe in ways of how it applies to photography. I'm curious to see like how maybe there's connections between the different industries and different sectors of where you've worked in and how they maybe have helped you.
Done sales, healthcare, and it helped me a lot with speaking. So when I'm dealing with like a lot of different industries, it helped me so much because I remember how I trained for like how to sell cars, and because now I like shooting cars, some of those traits that I've like developed, I'm able to continue a conversation because sometimes there's possibilities where you'll meet somebody and you can't even continue a conversation, and because I've been in so many different industries, one, I have something to talk about, and two, I have some knowledge of what they're, but it also prepares me on who I'm dealing with because I can deal with someone that's very rude, someone that is, not having a great day. And being in sales, I've interacted with so many people like that. Being in healthcare, I've interacted with people at their worst days. And I was able to change someone's worst day into their okay day or even their best day. But sometimes them feeling okay is something that probably they didn't even experience in life. And because I've had those different experiences, still use it to today with my photography because it's like it adds more value to it because not only is someone is looking at my work, but they know who shot it and they remember meeting me. And because of that, it added more of a story to what they're looking at. And it also helps with people just telling others about me and me getting hired at the end of the day.
Yeah, that too, definitely. Oh, that's so cool though. I think that's amazing how you've had a background like working in healthcare and sales and just knowing how those jobs and those professions have really brought a lot to working with people and understanding people. Because yeah, like with sales, I work in sales right now too. Like I do that on the side and it's hard. It's
It's
like it's
hard.
a lot of projection. It's pretty brutal and humbling, honestly. And also, it's just like, yeah. And then obviously in healthcare, it's really hard too
Oh,
because you're seeing people truly at their worst. And it's like, okay, how can I interact with them and get the most out of this conversation? How can we
yeah.
find a middle ground between the two of us and, find ways to really make each other happy and make this a positive outcome in this conversation? That's always like what's the biggest challenge with interacting with people. And
Yeah.
it's very, very interesting to see the level of versatility that you have to have. And
Mhm.
if you had to choose whether it was healthcare, sales, or photography now, who are the best people or the easiest people you think to deal with? I mean, I feel like this is a rhetorical question. I feel like you're know the
No,
answer
no,
to this.
no.
I'm curious.
It's,
I'm
it's
curious.
that's actually a really good question because I still talk about it to the day. Like if I were to stop photography, I'd probably go back to my old job in mechanical. I met people that I still remember to this day. Some have passed away, but I still remember our interactions. There's some people that I interacted with that were hard to deal with. Like there's people that there was this one person that she was always getting escorted by the police out of her appointment, and I said challenge accepted, and I became the person she loved the most, and I became the person that I was the only one she wanted to deal with. She would be at other appointments in other buildings, and they would call for me just to deal with her. And but that tells me like you don't know what kind of day someone's having. Like there's you have the ability to change someone's world instantly by your energy. Like and that's why like I would choose of course I would choose photography every day. But if I had no more hands. I mean there is AI, so I can still do photography without my hands. But I would still go back and still inspire people. Because telling you, like, there's that one person that'll change your life. All
Yeah.
it takes is one. And there's people that changed my life that I could have been the last thing they remembered.
Yeah.
And it's like one way to show appreciation is just follow through because they use their last breath, or they could use their last breath on you. How are you gonna continue their legacy? And that's the mentality I'm gonna keep going forward with.
Yeah, that's a good mentality. Now, I know you just kind of mentioned a little bit about AI with
Mhm.
photography, and I feel like we talk about this every podcast regarding the usage of AI. Do you have any concerns or fears about it regarding your way of inputting photography out and just being a photographer at all? Like, do you feel like you're at risk for losing your job, or what's your feelings on AI regarding your profession? I'm curious.
I'm such a tech geek, so I'm still learning, of course, AI, but I like using AI when I'm creating memes. I am the class clown. I am the person that you would hate to speak to on your birthday because I try to even use some of my photography and my friends and try to recreate moments for their birthday so they can laugh. And people anticipate that I'm gonna do something crazy every year. So some of my friends block me on their birthdays.
I
So
love that.
there's some people that I wasn't around them for their childhood. So I try to use AI to see if I can recreate their childhood. And I can like make a birthday moment for them. And the fact that I can execute that is so insane.
That is insane.
So insane.
No, it's incredible what AI honestly can do. And I think just like I talk about it, I feel like at least a couple times a week and like how it's so potent and it's just so prevalent now in every industry. But I think the level of efficiency and I think the technological development and continuation of innovating it itself and how AI is going to continuously grow and grow and grow is immense, which does come with a lot of risks, I must say, but especially for jobs and regarding for people, but regarding just how incredible it is to create these images. And like I was talking about it even like recently with my dad because he has been able to make like cool graphics and really cool like designs with images for up using it for his company. And he was like, this would have taken me like days and
Yep.
days and days on end where I can create a really, really cool image in a matter of minutes. Like that's just
Minutes.
incredible. Like it must be from your standpoint as well, like just the level of how quickly but how great the quality can be of an image with the usage of AI. It's so cool to me. I don't know. I think it's so
But you still have to know how to talk to them.
right.
It's because one small word change in your statement can change the whole thing.
Right.
And it could come out to not how you want it to. So that's why I feel like I won't ever lose my job to AI. And at the end of the day, like no one can hire me. I'm still gonna do photography. There's still gonna always be art to it. It's still therapeutic to me. So that's why it's like I'm okay to take the risk. In life, you gotta be a risk taker. So you can't advance in anything if you're not risk taking.
Yeah.
So I'm challenge accepted. You know?
Fear doesn't scare you, it wakes you up. And without taking risks and without embracing your fears, doesn't come any rewards from it. And I think that's great. And honestly, with AI, listen, like how that connects is so crucial because with AI, obviously, it's scary. There's a lot of fears and risks that goes along with it. But if you work with it and understand that, listen, like we can work together because we both need each other. AI still needs
Exactly.
a human touch, but then it's so great to have that efficiency aspect and the advancement of what AI is. So working together to input and create these creations is always what's going to be in demand and what will be in demand
Exactly.
online. So I think that's really,
Remember, it's like you don't care how you do it, care when it gets done.
yeah.
So that adds to it. Like you can use AI, but at the end of the day, it's the final product what matters.
That's really good. That's a really good take, honestly. I would love to ask, so regarding down the line, regarding photography, is there what legacy do you kind of like, this is like a double question. Like what legacy like do you kind of want to leave off in regards to people that have worked with you or people that see your photography? And also, do you have any like future plans down the line with your photography?
This actually adds to one of my dreams. So I said to myself last year that I wanted to work with this, and I was able to have that opportunity, and I became a partner, and I was a part of the process for their new feature called Visco Galleries, where I was actually the first photographer to use Visco Galleries at a wedding. So I shot a wedding and I was able to use Visco Galleries throughout the wedding and created a moment where it was like live uploads where the guests were able to upload photos they've taken into my gallery for the bride and groom. And the fact that I was able to become the first at that, people will remember me. And it gave me that moment for room for inspiration. So like I just always want to continue inspiring and leave a footprint. And by doing things like that, I'm leaving footprints because not only that I was able to be the first to do that, but I was able to execute while being the first. So it's not like I had that position and did a bad job. Like I still made it memorable for both parties, the bride and groom, and Visco and myself, you know?
Yeah.
So I think me continuing to leave footprints, you see that it's everywhere. Leave a footprint. Make them remember you. How are you gonna do that? You know? And that's how I want to continue doing these things. And that's how I'm going to continue to make these moments. I'm working on a book now, a book of portraits, and it's going to be all on women. So because of all the places that I've worked at, all the people that I've encountered with, all those moments that inspired me to create something. And hopefully that will translate once this book ever comes out. And it's exciting. I have a lot coming up and I'm taking everybody on a roller coaster.
That's fantastic. No, that's so cool. I think it's amazing that you're also you want to continuously be a part of projects and you're already making history and photography and that's,
Yeah.
being the first to accomplish something and then also creating your own book. Like that's just so incredible. And I really hope that it gets published definitely like sooner than later because I feel like people
Yeah.
see this
Take risks.
and take risks and show off the inspiring women that you've come across with like in your life and through your jobs and your encounters and your endeavors. Like that's so amazing that you're creating a book like that. And I can't wait to see it come out. I think that's so exciting.
Oh, I'll make sure I'm gonna send you one whenever I do.
Yes, no, seriously, please send me one. I would love to
Yeah.
frame it. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be framing it in my place, trust me.
Oh, yes.
You bet.
Yes.
Yes. So we
Yes.
always ask this last question to everybody who comes on our podcast. You could give one or multiple, that's up to your interpretation, pieces of advice to the interns and associates tuning in. What advice could you give?
I'm the man of advice and analogies.
Love that. Perfect.
I said to myself, which you should say to yourself, go get the no. You're not going to get the no if you don't go for it. So the worst thing that's going to happen is them telling you no, go for it. Take the risk because now you're going to learn how to deal with rejection because someone is going to say yes. You have to go. If you keep doing that, the sky is not the limit. There's so much out there. And there's people waiting to say yes to you. Go for it. Find that person. Even if 100 people tell you no, it's going to be one person that's going to say
That's good advice. That's true. I love it. I think you just have to try and
say F it.
yeah, seriously, do that and you'll be in good shape. That's seriously how it is. Well, I just want to say, Jerry, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today on this episode of the Cubicle Podcast. I loved what you have to say. I love to learn about you and your photography background, and I can't wait to see what you pursue in the future regarding photography. And I can't wait to see for this book release. And
Yes.
I would love to highlight how people can reach out to you. And I'm gonna like edit it and put it like on
Yeah.
screen when I actually sit down and edit it for real. So if what's your handle and how can people reach out to you?
I'm on Instagram, photos for BFAS. Send me DMs. My email is attached to it. I love talking to people. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a special episode on take a walk with me, or we'll go to a coffee shop and we'll do something live. And I love inspiring people. Please reach out to me. Please, please, please. We'll have some fun.
That would be that. No, seriously, that would be fantastic. I'm sure the interns and associates would love a live book
Oh, yeah.
review.
I
And
need some interns.
yeah, we do. No, seriously, you want to be an intern
Yeah.
for Jerry, reach out to him on Instagram. You know his handle now.
Yeah.
Reach out to him and you can
Have
definitely
fun.
collaborate and work in any way. And no, I would seriously love that. I feel like that'd be fantastic. And it'd be, I think, just a great experience just for people to see you live and get that perspective live. I feel like that'd be insane and amazing. But
Amazing. Yes.
yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, this concludes this episode of the Cubicle Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we hope you guys learned all about Jerry and his background and a lot of his photography projects and endeavors and what's going to be happening down the line. And if you are interested in learning more, reach out to him, as we would love for you guys to collaborate. And stay tuned for the next episode where all is said. Thank you. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
See you later.